Hello there, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back, Cozy Club. We've got a brand new video series for you guys today. 20 fast-firing tips and tricks for the Oceanic faction. Throughout the various of testing that I do on a very regular basis, I find out little bits of information and tidbits about both factions and characters along the way, and I wanted to find a new series that I can quickly get a lot of those tips out to you guys. So what not a better faction to start with than the Oceanics, with Peter Pan just dropping, Coconut Crackdown coming back, and the Oceanics just being solid in every single game mode. They were the perfect faction to start out with. And with all that being said, I need to hear from you guys. If this is a series or a video type that you guys really like and you want to see kind of quick tip videos on characters, factions, and even game modes, let me know. Go by liking this video and commenting down below if this is something I should be pumping out and dedicating more time to. So strap up, buckle up, and get that notepad out. Let's begin. Tip number 1. The Oceanic faction thrives on synergy than just about any other faction within DSA. So essentially, the more, the merrier. Tip number 2. The Oceanics have synergy within synergy. So essentially, they've got movie synergy is the easiest way to think about it. You've got Maui and Moana with a great duo. The Little Mermaid shares a trio of synergy. Within Club Conquest, the new Peter Pan provides a lot of different synergies. And then you've also got Lilo and Stitch that can do really unique abilities between Bubbles, Gantu, and Stitch. And with all of that also, a lot of adventurers with Moana and Maui and Raya providing some extra oomph to your Moana. So in a nutshell, study up, learn all the little synergies within the synergy. Tip number 3, or 3. Which one do you do? Comment down below. The Oceanics are one of the slowest factions in the entire game, and so you want to make sure you use the specific characters to get the turn meter flowing. Use these characters to really get yourself sped up and ahead of the enemy. Eric's swing into action not only gives a taunt, but 30% turn meter to all Oceanic allies. Triton's Prismatic Blessing is going to give 15% turn meter to all teammates as long as they don't have a harmful effect. And if they do, he's going to cleanse it. Cobra Bubbles Call Me Next Time is going to give speed meter with his ticket in relation to the missing health percentages that the characters have. Note on level 4, they're going to get even more turn meter if they're Lilo and Stitch teammates. Wendy Darling is the newest character, but she also has turn meter for one specific Oceanic character. You want to go ahead and give that to your highest hitting Oceanic character. Tip number 4. You want to make sure with King Triton there are 2 adjacent characters to him, because every time he uses that blessing, he's going to call them to assist. Now, a pro tip, put the cauldron in the dead middle, and he's going to call that cauldron to assist as well, providing big cooldowns to your entire team and providing a much better raid run. Tip number 5. Tactics is one of the best buffs within the game, and the Oceanics have 2 characters that give it out amongst the best within DSA. Captain Gantu and Cobra Bubbles both have ways to give out tactics. You want to make sure you give it to people that really utilize it. Maui's whale ability is the most obvious because you can get a huge AoE stun out into the entire team. So try to time it just right. Other Oceanics that gain massive advantages with tactics is Wendy, Bubbles, Stitch, and Jack Sparrow. Tip number 6, Shadow Maui, Shadow Maui, Shadow Maui. If you don't know the trick already, every time that Maui gains a taunt or you shadow Maui with either Wendy or the spell, Moana is going to keep on gaining turns. This is probably one of the most crucial tips if you want to dominate within PvP. And if you want to find out more, go to my Crashing Wave video link up above to go ahead and learn this tactic. Tip number 7. While on the subject of shadows, we might as well kind of talk about a shadow priority list. Now, most of you guys won't have pants. We won't talk about Peter. You want to go ahead and shadow Maui with taunt as your first priority. If that doesn't happen, if he's polymorphed or silenced, go to Moana with harmful immunity or offense up. Get those Moanas out there. She's got an amazing basic. And if that is not an option, go ahead and shadow Bubbles or Ursula for some great basic damage. Tip number 8. Moana and Gantu are your primary damage dealers outside of maybe Ursula and Davy, but for the most part, those are going to be your big offensive units. Protect them at all costs, or have both of them on your team and make the enemy decide which one they're gonna kill. Tip number 9. To go along with the last tip with Moana, Moana loves slows on the enemy. It's gonna make your team a lot faster, but she's also gonna double tap that basic with some huge damage. Apply AoE slow to the enemy with Captain Gantu, Triton's boom on each specific character, or you can use Stitch on a single target to get slow out there and some big paddle damage. Tip number 10, and I swear, this is the last Moana only tip, but we're on the subject. Go ahead and try to get the most out of that basic with assisting calling characters like Belle with the Princess synergy, you have Raya with Adventurer synergy, and lastly, Barley to provide a big paddle smacking fest. Tip number 11, I'm just gonna stop doing the finger thing. Oceanics under a Maui lead excel greatly over big offense characters that try to get the advantage over you with quick kills like Zerg or even Hercules. Use that to your advantage, let them waste that away, or go directly after them and provide some major damage. Tip number 12. The Crashing Wave team that we talked about a little bit earlier in the video I linked up above can pretty much punch up against any team in Club Conquest, or really any team that the AI is controlling. Learn that team, use it to your advantage, combine Barley and Moana for a devastating offensive team. Tip number 13. Wendy is absolutely nuts within the Forbidden Depths. So much so, I might make my own video just on her. She eliminates the use of having Peter Pan's Shadow as a spell, and you can save it for another team, and she can just copy Cauldron over and over, providing amazing cooldowns, and honestly is one of my new favorite raid characters. Tip number 14. The big primary chunk of your damage and, frankly, odds on winning every battle is going to come from Moana's Crashing Wave. Now, go ahead and make sure you're patient when using this ability. If you have blind or offense down, try to wait till Grandma Tala comes up to cleanse it, or wait for that blind to go away, because if you misuse that ability, it's pretty much a curtain call. Tip number 15. We only have 5 more left after this. You want to go ahead and make up for the Oceanics' really lackluster speed overall with Speed Stones. Outside of Moana, Gantu, and maybe Prince Eric, you should have Speed Stones on just about all of your other characters, given the right situations to get that extra oomph out of your character. Tip number 16 is a very easy one, but one that people forget a lot. The Oceanics have 3 different characters that can inflict silence on the enemy team. Use them. Davy Jones, Ursula, and Cobra Bubbles can all inflict silence and give you a massive advantage on the battlefield. Tip number 17. For the most part, Oceanics are tanky and can take a lot of different hits, but they're extremely weak against characters like Captain Hook, or most importantly, Hades, that can do bonus damage to characters with shields. So Beast and Hades are the ones to probably watch out for the most. And if they're on the enemy team, well, you know who to take down first. Tip number 18. You pretty much always want Grandma Tala and Peter Pan's Shadow as your main spells for the Oceanic. Now, if you don't have those, Mortal Potion, Splash, Wand, and Midnight Countdown or Clock Tower are some great alternatives, and they pair very nicely with what the Oceanics have to offer. Tip number 19. Don't have Maui? That's fine. Hero and Pocahontas can make great leaders for the Oceanic faction. Poca with a great cleanse, and Hero with the speed to go ahead and upgrade Moana right off the bat with offense up. Just make sure you've got a tank to soak up that damage. Baymax or maybe Prince Eric would be best in that spot. And for our final tip, ladies and gentlemen, tip number 20, we're going to go ahead and talk about fillable characters outside the Oceanic faction. If you need to fill in a character, Barley, Mickey are great supports. Hercules, Beast, and Baymax are going to be great distractions to let your Oceanics do what they do best. And lastly, Honey Lemon or Judy for the 2-turn or massive AoE slows to capitalize with Moana. And there you have it, Cozy Club. Those are going to be the top 20 tips and tricks for the Oceanic faction. Please, guys, comment down below and tell me your favorite tip, or maybe something you didn't know prior coming into this video. Again, if you guys want to see a series like this more often for different factions like Kingdom, Mythicals, characters, or game modes, like the video and comment down below. And most importantly, if you have not already, subscribe to the Cozy Club. It is absolutely free, and over 50% of you guys have not subscribed. Thank you guys so much for coming, and until next time, stay cozy.